Greetings and salutations, Pokemon fan! We have more SPL commentary coming our way. Today, we are looking at Mako against GaryTheGengar for week 5. Alright, so let's see. We have pretty... I wouldn't say standard because you don't see this type of builds anymore, but they were quite popular like uh, I don't know, 7 or so years ago. It's been a while. Where you see just no spikes, big, strong mons. Jirachi in this slot as well, that's pretty uncommon nowadays, though it depends on its set. There's a sample team that looks like this, kind of, but there's Starmie Sun, that's also not something you see a lot of. This type of team, they're okay. They can win. They may not be the most up to date, the most trendy, but they function properly. Like you have good synergies. They can swap around pretty well. My main issue is maybe Starmie Sand. I don't like it that much, but it works. It just I personally don't like it, but I'm not the one playing, so whatever. As for Mako, she went for a very courageous choice, let's say, because this team, these 6 at least, were used by Gary himself in the finals of Black and White Cup. Which means that he's got the pace, right? Even if he doesn't have the pace on hand, since he used it in Black and White Cup finals for Classic, he definitely remembers at least the most important things of the team, right? You may not fully remember every single detail, every single EV or whatever, but you have a very good idea of what each of these mons is running. And so that's a very I don't recommend doing this, but I mean, evidently she thought this would be the team to bring, so she probably has good reasons to, right? And so yeah, that's as for sets, it's pretty hard to tell. Okay, this Breloom is, if I remember correctly, it's Protect, Swords Dance, Facade, Drain Punch, especially defensive. That I am sure about. As for everything else, I honestly have no remembrance whatsoever. Though I would personally run. You have Jirchi and Titar, so you can probably run whatever Landorus you like. Probably just defensive, especially defensive even. That's probably a good idea, right? Because at least you can pretend you have a Heatran switch in. Alpha Heatran switch in, which there's only Latios otherwise, and that's a bit suspicious, let's say. Although some Heatrans run HPIs, and if you have special defensive, that's a bit rough, but hey, that's a start. Could also just be max speed, HPs, rocks, U-turn, ice, earthquake. And then you have what Rachi said. It's probably like Rachi has to be the main steal, right? Because Excadrill is offensive, I would say. Swords Dance, stabs, spin. And then you have a special defensive Rachi, which could be something like Body Slam, Fire Punch, Iron Head, Protect, Wish, something like that. And I believe Gary also has the same idea with Rachi. Is there a world in which either of these is offensive? Gary, absolutely not. Makos could be, but I think they're both specially defensive. And so you use Jirachi to deal with Latios and Tyranitar to deal with Zam. That's kind of the deal usually, and it makes a lot of sense for Gary's team because Zam obviously very strong into this. If you do Scar, like You usually see Scarf Rachi with, say, Healing Wish. Actually, Garry's could very well be Scarf, because this is a very offensive team, right? You can just run max offense with the other five. So this could very well be Scarf. And Healing Wish is fine because you have you have Keldrin Sand, and the other mons also healing them back up late game. That's very nice. As for Mako's team, I expect a bulkier one. Because this team doesn't. Okay, you don't want to healing wish your Brelum, although that's maybe sometimes nice, but then you heal the Toxic Orb and then you have to protect, give up another turn. It's a bit junky. And the team itself doesn't play as fast as this one. You can just see even in just the speed stats, right? You have like 346, 350, 361, Scarfracci as well. That's another 400 speed. Lando is the only, Titan is the only really slow one. Lando is average middle speed. But Mako's team is a lot slower. You have Excadrill Brelum, like fastest Mon Latios. That's this is a slow team. There's no other way to put this. Okay, so what do we lead with? Um, Probably Brelum. And Gary, you lead Keldeo. But if you lead Keldeo and you're leftovers against a special defensive Brelum, Brelum protects turn one, then what do you do turn two? You don't one hit KO Brelum. That's Keldeo cannot one hit KO Brelum, funnily enough, unless you're like HPI specs and this is a zero special defense. But on this team, it's max special defense Brelum. So leading Keldeo into this Brelum, you can do it, especially since you have the paste, right? So you know this is not Seed Bomb. There is a chance that Mako changed it, but if you look at her past games, she always showed up with a Team 101 taken from the source. She hasn't edited any team so far. Keldo also tanks Seed Bomb, but that's just yeah, that's just that's an addendum. Although it will put you into like rocks plus sun range pretty fast, so maybe you don't want to do that. Other potential leads for Mako though, I think everything else is a bit of a bad lead. Rachi maybe, if it's body slam, then I can see leading with decent success. It would lose to Lando, but against Lando you can Arbrelum, and like okay, so you have Girch against Landorus. Turn one, everything unrevealed. Lando will click one of U-turn, Stealth Rock, or Earthquake if it's feeling mega risky, but they usually don't do that. It's very risky. It's probably clicking rocks on a Ratchet turn one, especially since the spinner, in this case Excadrill, cannot really spin on anything here except it, or maybe. So it's very tempting. And so you can lead Rachi and then immediately Arbrelum. That gives you free Toxic Orb activation. And if the Landorus U-turn, say, you give up a bit momentum, but you won't take that much damage and you will then heal the next turn. You can do that. I think that's a fine play. So I will lead the Rachi here. This is all assuming it's like body slam. Because if you are Scarf Rachi, obviously don't lead it. But if it's Scarf Rachi, you have to lead Brelom 100%. Because the way I see it, Gary either leads Lando or leads Keldeo. Most likely Keldeo. Lando is a bit of a trying to play from turn one, which not a fun. So I would say if Rachi is especially defensive, lead with Rachi. If Brelum is if it's Scarf Rachi, lead with Brelum. As for Gary, well, without knowing sets, it's a bit hard, but it's either Kelly or Orlando. I don't mind either. I think Orlando is fine personally, but depends on the Keldo set. And let's see. Brelum, Keldeo. Okay, you protect with Brelum. There are several reasons to protect. Even okay, you can make a case that this may be simply faking to be choice banned, and Keldeo then will be should probably get out. But with this team, choice band Brelum, like why? What's the idea here, right? There's no way. And that's 90. Oh, this specs Keldeo. Okay, that this makes a lot of sense. Okay, so since this specs Keldeo, if this Brelon was 0 HP, let's say banned, then it would die, but it's max HP, so it tanks, except the Brelon didn't protect, and so uh, well, and so it's dead. It's as good as dead. You're never recovering Brelon versus this. You have to switch out now, and you have to go Lando, right? If you go Latios will take 45%, give or take, and then yeah, 45 precisely. Wow. And then what? Rachi comes out, you Draco, you do 98. So this is Pex Latios, and this looks like Scarf. Okay. You turn Rocky Helmet? Rocky Helmet? No. Right. Um Back into Keldeo. And this is leftovers Rachi. Okay. Is this body slam slash thunder? Thunder. Please don't use thunder Rachi in sand or in general, but especially in sand. Okay, if it's body slam, do you go for it? And then this Rachi is a 90% scarf, right? So let's say it's got healing wish. So do you trade your Keldeo for to kill the Rachi? Is it worth it? It kind of is because Rachi, if it's specially defensive, which is, I mean, at this point, I'm inclined to believe it is. It's surprisingly competent at walling Sarmi, and so if you trade the Keldeo, you can relinquish it back up later. One, two. As long as you don't get mega unlucky, or even if you do, you have a Starmie that's pretty strong in this game. Because you know these specs Latios. At this point, one of the two grounds has to be Scarf. Mm, that's okay because you have your own Landru, so yeah, you can trade for this. I wouldn't be surprised if Gary went for it, and looks like he's going for it. Ooh, lots of damage, but gets the para, and now what do you... Oh, it's your turn. Back to Atios. Um, okay, you have to Draco, right? I mean, you can double, but I don't know. Whoa, that did a meal. Is this zero bulk? Is this banned? So you have Specs Keldeo and maybe Scarf. Either way, you cannot. Even if you're Scarf, you don't know these Excadrills. Oh, but wait, this is a pretty okay spot for Mako, right? Because you click Iron Head, you kill one thing dies here. Lando maybe doesn't if you're leftovers and max health, but even then you're taking a lot of free chip. Though at this point you probably just sacrifice Theta, unless it's cast up Berry, which I really don't think it is, because if you don't cast up, you usually want max health, and this Reiko make you do too much damage. Was it Modest Latios? No way, right? That would be extremely greedy. But yeah, I think you sacrifice Theta here. Yeah, that's just the standard play, and then you go Landorus. And Keldeo. I feel like this is very dangerous. You're paralyzed. And so between full para and Iron Head and crit chance, this is not exactly in Keldio's favor. I would have gone Landorus. So the good thing about Lando here, although I don't know the set, so maybe it's Scarf and then it's a bit shaky, but if you are not Scarf Lando, Lando is the play here. You can even click Earthquake immediately. Your opponent has 4 mons that instantly die to Earthquake. And then the last one doesn't like HPIs. Well, Gary went for this, so Mako doesn't feel like rolling the dice, understandable. So, alright, goodbye Brelum. And now what do you click? Hey, okay, Lando. What do you click if you're Mako? U-turn and hope to outplay your opponent. Oh, it's substitute. Okay, so this is gravity, I guess. So it's like gravity with subs with Scarf Escadrille. And so the idea was, well, Brelun can tank ground moves somewhat in a pinch, although I'm not really a fan of Brelun as your grass type in gravity. But hey, I mean, I'm assuming it's gravity, right? Because what else? What are you subbing for? I mean, SmackDown? Maybe, but with the Excadrill in the back? Okay, leftovers. Right, but if it is if it is gravity, you cannot click it here anyway. Why is this? Why is Gary clicking HP fire? And why is Mako subs like what? Okay, so if it's gravity, which it probably is, it's substitute gravity, earthquake, then power ice, right? That's the only realistic set with sub and gravity. If that's the case, what's the idea behind subbing again against Army? Are you trying to put her in like Iron Head range with Sand Chip? But can you actually do it? Will it? Especially once you figure out that Gary is just clicking fire move. Why not just go Teeter? It's a bit of a gamble because obviously Starmie could click Hydro Pump and then you will be in a sticky situation with Teeter, but I mean, what else do you do? Like this play does nothing. The other one can work sometimes. I'm assuming it's not Surf, right? Else you will click it. Okay, that's a good one, but it could have worked a turn earlier and saved you 20% health, whatever. It's fine. Pursue it. That did a lot. Is this another Bunt? Why are they running Bunt Teeter, man? What's the one? Okay, I mean, fine. And Latios click Surf and you die. Okay, the hard part here, do you just play for this being Scarf, which is possible. Is this even Scarf damage? I think you should have clicked Body Slam here. If your opponent switches, like to Keldeo, that's fine, right? Because it will take 20 something percent plus sand. You can Iron Head it once. You only need one flinch / para. That's totally okay. Because even if you get rocks up here, how do you win if you're Mako? You go Excadrill here and click Iron Head. That's a given. Okay, GRC is dead though, so if you outplay the Lando a bit, you probably win. Oh, that's just 2% off. Oh man. This is just game. Okay, if you win a tie and or crit, you need to crit. It doesn't kill even if it's 0 special defense naive, but Is this zero special defense? No, it's max special defense, in fact, and that's a game. Okay, Mako was one crit away from winning, and actually, if that Iron had killed Latios, you need also to flinch the Kellio. That's unfortunate. It wasn't. It was a bit too close, I think, especially after the third one. Hmm. Okay, turn one. Okay, turn one. Brelon versus Kellio. Please click protect. Yes, there's a chance Kellio clicks Calm Mind, but come on. It's if you expect Calm Mind, you don't click Swordless. That's for sure because you don't. I'm not. I don't think Facade keeps Kellio at +2, and so like what have you accomplished? If you expect this team is so weak to Keldeo, though. That's the problem, right? Specs Keldeo especially, but any Keldeo really, except the do nothing Keldeo, which we probably shouldn't ever use. Mm. Also, yeah, it got close because the Rachi got crate, right? Without crate, Rachi will tank rocks and then say you can intimidate, go Keldeo, sacrifice Keldeo, healing wish with Rachi de Lando, you go to plus like -2x, can just click Earthquake. You die to create, I don't think so. So your opponent will create flinch or flinch into create, which is very unlikely. Right. Not much to say about the plays themselves beyond the third one, which was very weird. Subbing with Lando looked a bit funky in the moment, but overall, it didn't really matter looking at sets. Because Lando's health in this matchup, not really something you care about. Even if you only sub once, you die twice on the last turn anyway, because it's 0 HPs, right? It's max attack and speed and naive. And so you will die anyway, so health didn't really matter. It 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 is an optimization that doesn't really change the course of this game, so whatever. What else? So this Orb of Tyranitar band, it sure looked like it. We don't know Gary's. No, Gary was definitely not Scarf. Because wait, 1 second. Let's see. It could have been Scarf. We cannot tell. Because it never clicked a move since it, it died. Like it killed Latios with sand, and so yeah. Um, I've, it's probably banned, judging from the team composition, but even if I think Scarf looks a bit weird here. Mm, it's not the worst, though. You can snipe Starmie for Keldeo, say, and even for Latios. Since you have no real Starmie switching, and it can Starmie kind of outspeeds everything. So yeah, this could very well. I think GaryTheGengar is Scarf. It makes more sense to me that it's Scarf than Band. Marcos, I don't remember, but I think it's Band because I remember the black and white Cup Finals game. I mean, I don't remember it. I didn't. I never watched it, but I vaguely remember seeing the pace around. So I think that's. I think it was banned, Tara. Two more Specs Latios. Been a while since we've seen such high Specs Latios usage. Past years were, well, let's say 2 to 3 years ago, they were mostly Scarf. Then Colbur Berry became the most popular one. And now we're back to the Specs train. It's like Black and White 1. Wow, fantastic. I really do not like playing against Specs Latios because it's such a stupid mon. But well, I'm not the one playing against it, so hey. um, what else? Mm, no other particularly silly play, so yeah, it's fine. Mm, yeah, fun game. Probably a bit of a shame that Gary likely knew the team. That's never fun to face, but well, it is what it is, right? Okay, but nah, you cannot lead Latios. Like it's easy to say now. Why didn't you lead Latios? You would annihilate Tita and do 50% to Achi. This team is extremely specs Latios weak. It's Scarftar though, probably, so maybe not as bad, but you have to win a 50-50, right? Do you persuade or crunch? And if you get it wrong, you lose to Latios the next time it comes in. 100% almost. I mean, you have to sacrifice something, right? Rather, which is never fun. GRC can tank one, yes, but really, is that really what you want to do? Hmm. Nah, I think this was finally played. The only thing, again, I would have led Rachi, because again, if you go into against Lando, you can immediately switch to Brennan. But if you lead into everything else, you can just body slam it, and that's very valuable in this game. You will need to get a paralysis, but that's okay. That's maybe the only nitpick, really. But I see why you will lead Brennan. Although, if you lead Brennan, you need to click Protector 1. It's like Glasgow, you always Protector 1. There are some niche scenarios where you can avoid it, but in general, like 90% of the times you click Protect. This one was part of the 90%. Yep. Anyway, fun game. See you next time.